Hi, Jen. Are you there?
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Am I audible to you?
Yes, Jen.
Yeah. Sure.
Hi, Jen. Are you there?
Yes, you are audible.
Jen,
Yeah, yeah. You are.
can you hear me?
Something echoing or something. Just a second.
Yeah, I'll just go there. So, Jen, Miss Astha, she's a senior advisor and she will be taking the today's session. Okay, I'm taking a
Sure.
leave. You can carry on from here.
Okay.
Hi, Jayant. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. But
Yeah,
there
so
is some
Jayant
other
is-
sound also.
Yeah, but now it's
Background
gone.
noise.
I think Parvinder has left the room. Are you still hearing an echo? And I don't have the host right to start my video.
I don't- Now I think now it's better.
Okay, so you have stopped the video as the host. Could you give me access to start my video?
Yes. I'll just stop my screen
Yeah.
and just a second. I'll just.
We're starting at 4:30, right?
Correct.
Okay, great. I think, but is the recording already on YouTube?
Yeah, it's already. We are broadcasting on YouTube.
Okay. Hmm.
So we'll wait for the student to join in, and then maybe around 4:30 or 4:35, we'll start the webinar.
Sure,
Okay?
Jayant. I'm on standby whenever you want to start.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, all. Let me introduce myself. I am Niladri. I am heading the division of Hayden and Renault, which is basically into study abroad. And without lingering anything more, I am handing over the platform to Education USA representative so that they can guide, they can educate all the students on the process of applications and furthermore. Thank you. For any question, any query, you can raise your hands after the session is over. Our team of panelists would be happy to answer all the questions or queries if you have. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'll just get the video presentation started. Just join one thing, though I'm not able to share my video. My video is disabled. I don't have the host rights. So if you would like me to come on video, could you also give me the rights? In the meantime, I'm just sharing my slides.
Yeah, let me see, and I'm giving you the posting rights.
Sure. Students, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides? And if you can also hear me. You could let us know in the chat box as well.
Now you can share your screen because you are already added in that.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen. I don't, my audio is visible, audible as well. I don't think you can see me because my video is not enabled. I'm not able to do that, Jayant. But I think I should get started. You're able to see my screen and hear me clearly? Should I get started?
Yeah, please, please.
All right. Okay, great. So thank you so much. We're just going to start off with a little bit of an introduction. Students, let me know if you are able to put information in the chat box. Are you in grades 11 or are you in grade 12? Can you tell me which class you're from? That will also help me get an idea as to who I'm speaking with as well. All right, thank you so much for attending the session today. Today's topic is the 5 steps to US study. And we're going to be talking to you about how to apply to US universities for an undergraduate program. Okay. Now the session is being conducted by Education USA. Education USA is the official source on US higher education. And what that means is that we're not an agency or a consultancy or a university. A lot of people think we're also a university, but we are basically a US government program, okay, which is designed to help students to apply to US universities. We help you with information which is accurate, current, and comprehensive, but most importantly, unbiased. So we don't represent any 10, 20, 30 universities. We help students to apply to any universities in the US as long as they're accredited, right? Now we have many centers around the world, 170 countries and 430 centers around the world. 6 of those centers are in India. And you can access us virtually as well if you can't come down to our centers. But we have 6 centers in India as well. And we have Education USA advisors who meet students daily, and help them to understand how to apply to US universities. Okay. So please remember, we're the official source. We are a US government program and we work with the US Embassy and consulates here in India. My name is Astha Wilkes Singh. I'm the senior advisor at the Education USA Center and I'll be taking the session. We're very proud to let you know that we're celebrating 25 years this year. Education USA has been around for a very long time. And we are committed to helping students to apply to US universities and advancing international education. All right. Now, a lot of you may be thinking about the US. Maybe you're someone who's very sure that you're going to the US. Some of you may be wondering, okay, I think I might want to apply, but I'm not sure how. Maybe some of you are on the fence, a little clueless, which is totally fine. And some of you may not be even thinking about the US, okay? But just a little bit about why students do choose the US. What are some of the hallmarks of US higher education? And what is it that you will get when you're at a university in the US, right? So over 2 lakh Indian students have chosen the US as their destination of choice for higher education. And some of the reasons for these are that there are that the range and the diversity of institutions and the choice that you have in terms of majors, right? So you have about 4,000 institutions which are accredited. That means you have a lot of choice to choose from. And we have 50 states. Each state is different from another. And the best part about studying a bachelor's degree in the US is that you get to choose your majors. You could be doing a computer science and a music major. You could be doing law and gender studies, or you could be doing computer engineering and mountaineering at the same time, right? So this sort of flexibility is one of the reasons why a lot of Indian students end up choosing the US. Of course, the US is at the cutting edge of technology and research infrastructure. So a lot of students who are interested in doing research can actually start doing this at the undergrad level itself. You don't really have to wait for a master's or a PhD to do that. And I know not everybody's inclined towards research, but if you are, there are a lot of universities out there which actually do encourage undergrad research as well. It is obviously, I mean, the campuses are to die for. Like, it really makes me jealous when every time students are going to these amazing places. You know, it's a home away from home for 4 years, and it offers you a very vibrant and student sort of life and campus life. One of the biggest things, which is a big magnet for a lot of international students, is that the US gives you opportunities for funding. Some universities give you very generous funding, and they also offer you practical training opportunities. So every student who's going on a student visa to the US is allowed to stay back on their student visa and get practical training opportunities, which can be in the form of work, job, internship, part-time, full-time job for 1 whole year. Okay. Now, all of us who are doing, say, a degree in the US get that on their student visa. But if I'm a STEM major, that means the subject that I'm choosing is a STEM major, which is science, technology, engineering, math. I also get up to 2 years extension. So that is practically 3 years I can be on my student visa. I don't have to change my visa and actually work or get practical training opportunities in the US. Okay, so this is a very, very big pull for a lot of Indian students. Of course, the facilities are just amazing. You know, you have the career centers, you have writing centers, you have fitness center. One of the examples you can see, this is a stadium at the Michigan State University. These are international level standard stadiums, and a lot of students, you know, can enjoy the game if they want to, or actually participate as well, right? So a lot of good facilities. And the best part is that, yes, you do get a degree at the end of the year, but you also build a huge, robust network. You're part of an alumni network for life, and you do network with a lot of people. And networking goes a long way in your career in the future. Okay, so with that, let's think a little bit about the US higher education landscape. It's a little different from ours, so it's important to note a few things. The one thing that you have to note is that there's a huge range in the kinds of institutions. So you have public institutions and private institutions, right? Now, public institutions largely basically are funded by government sourcing, government source of funding, and therefore are cheaper. Their tuition is already subsidized. But because it is cheaper, they don't have too many scholarship awards or the very high scholarship awards. You will probably get like $5,000 up to $20,000 at some schools, but not more than that. Usually this is because the tuition is already subsidized. At a private university, on the other hand, because they're being sourced by a lot of private funding, they do sometimes have higher amounts of scholarship or awards, but they are a little bit more expensive. So you also have to see that choosing a public or a private university can impact your cost of attendance. Okay. There's also something called the liberal arts and sciences colleges, which are kind of private institutions. They're much smaller in size, like you'll have about 4,000, 5,000 students on campus, as opposed to, say, a large university which has 50,000 students, right? So this is obviously a very different experience, where a lot of students tend to do better at a liberal arts and sciences college. And the myth is that only arts subjects can be studied at a liberal arts and sciences college. That's not true. You can very well study engineering, computer science, astronomy, astrophysics at these colleges, in addition to other subjects. And a lot of, if you go back and see, a lot of the famous people or the alumni actually have come out from liberal arts and sciences colleges, okay? So for a lot of students, this can be a very good fit. They do give a huge amount of generous funding as well. So do check out a few liberal arts and sciences colleges when you're applying to the US. The other institutions that are noteworthy to talk about is a community college. A community college students usually go to after class 12, okay? And they go for a 2-year program called the associate degree. So what you do there is that you do the 2-year associate degree and then you transfer to a 3rd and 4th year institution and you complete your education from that larger university and you get your degree from the larger university, okay? So if I've done my associate degree at Foothill College and I've transferred to, say, University of California, Riverside, my degree, my bachelor's will be from University of California, Riverside. Okay. Now, why students do that is because community colleges can tend to be a little cheaper. Okay. And therefore, it becomes very economical to do your 4 years in such a manner, 2+2 programs. Okay. Now, some students do look at specialized institutions as well, like you have science schools, film institutions, flight schools, etc., so on and so forth. We tell students that, okay, these are very good options as well. They're mostly private and therefore a little bit more expensive. But if you're absolutely sure that you want to do that particular subject only, then it's okay to kind of go in for a specialized institution. Because say I want to do computer science, but I also want to do music. So if I'm going to, say, a tech institution which doesn't have music as an option, then this kind of institution will not be a good fit for me. So therefore, it's important to note what you also want to study, what your priorities are, right? So levels of studies, like we spoke about, you have associate degree and you have a bachelor's program. So 2 years and then 4 years. Most of you will go for a bachelor's program in the US, which is for 4 years. Now, there's also intakes, right? Now, most universities in the US start in the fall. That means you start your classes in August or September of any given year, okay? Now, some universities also start classes in January, which is called the spring intake. But most of your students will be going only in the fall. There is also something called rolling admissions, which does not have it doesn't have a deadline per se, and it's mostly open through the year. But if you're going for rolling admissions, then the sooner you apply, the better it is. Okay. Now, in terms of deadlines, most universities' deadlines will start somewhere in the month of November. Now, November 1 is one deadline, and it goes on till December, January as well. Okay, but please remember, most universities are finished their deadlines by, say, Jan 5th, Jan 15th. Okay, so you don't really, there'll still be universities that are open after that, but the list becomes smaller. Some universities have a priority deadline for a scholarship. Okay, most universities do not require a separate, application for a scholarship, but a priority deadline, it might be at least a month in advance. So, for example, if my deadline is December 1 for application, the scholarship deadline might be November 1. And now, if you need scholarships, then you should not miss these priority deadlines. These are only in some colleges. Not all colleges have priority deadlines, okay? And please remember, there are two things you should remember about US admissions. One is the best fit concept. That is, a lot of students look at only rankings for US admissions. But please note that we encourage students to really look beyond rankings, okay? And look at what your criteria is, what your sort of, factors are when you're shortlisting universities, okay? And then select the best schools for yourself, okay? Because universities in the US are looking at a holistic admissions review. That means what? That means that you get to showcase not just your marks and your test scores, but also who you are as an individual, who you are as a person, as a learner, outside of your classroom. So therefore, we'll talk a little bit about holistic admissions, but it's very, very important to present a holistic picture to US universities. Now, at Education USA, we help students to apply through a 5-step process. This process basically helps you to kind of keep on track, okay? And some of these steps work simultaneously, so you don't complete one and then go to the next one. That's not how it always works. Especially for the first 3 steps, you're kind of working on them together, okay? But the first step is very, very important. It is about selecting colleges, right, for yourself. Now, it's very, very important to select colleges, again, like we said, not based just on rankings, but also what is it that I want? What are my criteria? What are the factors that are important for me when I'm selecting universities, right? For somebody, funding will be very, very important. For somebody, say the major is obviously going to be very important. Some might say that, ma'am, I'm only going to go to the East Coast. Some will say that I need to do this major and be able to study entrepreneurship as well. So accordingly, students will look at universities. right? Now, there's also the second step is financing your education. Now, here it is very important to note that the earlier you start thinking about this, the better it is, because you may otherwise miss important deadlines for scholarships and things like that. Okay. So make sure you talk about the cost of attendance. What does the university, like, what is it going to be? How expensive is it going to be? Do they give scholarships? Do they have other sources of funding available as well? So it's important to note these things down while you're still shortlisting universities and not after you have gotten admission. A lot of students come back to us and say, now I have an admission offer, but I don't have the funding. At that stage, what happens, students, it's already a little too late because many scholarships have already sort of, their deadlines have already expired, have passed. So you will not be able to avail those scholarships. Therefore, find out early on what the cost of attendance is and where the scholarships are. If you want to understand where can I find scholarships or which universities give scholarships, reach out to Education USA. We have a list that we can help you with to understand this better. Okay. Now, the third step, and we'll talk a little bit more about the third step in detail, but here it is basically about applying to the US. Now, if you're in class 12th, many of you will be applying right now. You know that a lot of university deadlines are coming up, and it is time that you work with your school on getting letters of recommendations and writing your essays and all of that. So at step 3, we basically help students to apply to US universities. Once you have finished your application and you submitted your application, then you can, if you got an offer from the university, you are then given something called the I-20, with which you start to apply for your student visa. Okay, now this obviously happens only in the month of April every year. April onwards, the season starts for student visas. And please remember, there's a lot of negative press about student visas, okay, especially with the US. But every year we're breaking records. And this year in particular, you'll be surprised to know that at least 10,000 visa slots went unbooked. Nobody booked them. So there was a surplus of slots available. And all students who were able to get, who were credible students, first timers who were applying, they were able to get their student visas and go to the US, right? So please remember, we work with the US Embassy and the consulates. So the visa officers who actually adjudicate your visa, the one who actually interview you, they are the ones who are doing the sessions for you. So, and these sessions are completely free. So make sure you attend them to know exactly how to apply and then apply for your student visa. Don't make the mistake of getting wrong information, because with such information, you don't have an excuse really to get bad information from anywhere else, okay? The first step is prepare for your departure. So once you have your visa, how to make that transition, smooth from being a student here in India and to a new academic, social-cultural environment in the US. So this is how the 5 steps works, okay? Now let's look at a little bit of the roadmap. Some of you are, of course, in grade 11 as well, I was told. So at grade 11, of course, you still have time to do a little bit of activity building. Like if you have a few things that you have not done for your resume or for the activities list, you can actually, do a little bit of that still in grade 11. If you're going to take tests like the SAT or the ACT or even the AP exams or the tests, some of you may also attempt the TOEFL or the IELTS at this point. It's best to do it once in grade 11, because if you haven't done too well, you still have time to take another retest. If you start everything in grade 12, it still will get done, but you mostly will have to be really, really organized, and a little bit stressful it might be. So try to pace yourself, okay? Try to spread out these tasks and tentatively shortlist universities in grade 11. You don't have to finalize the list. But in grade 12, once you come to grade 12 is when you actually finish your testing, if you have not done it. So finalize your shortlist, write everything, and then apply. Okay, so the roadmap usually looks like that. Now, if you look at the undergrad application, most universities ask you for these sort of 9 boxes. Okay, now you will see students, many of these aspects are quantitative and some of them are qualitative. Therefore, we tell students that the US looks at holistic admissions, right? Because you're also getting to see like academic transcripts, my marks, which tell me that, okay, they can put a score to me and say, okay, this person is 80% or 90%. But other qualitative aspects are letters of recommendation that you will take from your teachers and school counselor. So one school counselor recommendation will go, 2 teacher recommendations will go, right? Your essays. Some of you will be writing supplementary essays depending on which colleges you choose, right? And there's also the activities list or the resume that you have to prepare, right? So some universities accept a resume as well. So you may have to do both. Some universities will offer you the interview. Not everyone does this. If you do get the interview, don't be scared of it. Take it up, because it's a good way to tell the university that, you know, what I've put in my application is actually true. They can corroborate that information. And secondly, it also gives the university a chance to get to know you and sort of see if you're a good fit for their institution. Okay. Now, if you're applying for financial aid, okay, which is different from merit scholarships, students, then you have to submit something called the financial aid form. Okay. In the international context, it is the CSS profile. In the American context, it's FAFSA. So domestic students or citizens of the US can apply for federal aid through FAFSA. That is not open for international students. Okay. Now, if you want to understand how to fill up the CSS profile, get in touch with us. We do full sessions on each of these boxes, actually. We have a session on the Common App. We have a session on how to write your essays. We have a session on how to put your activities list together. But I'm just giving you a little gist of all of these. Of course, if you need more details, you can definitely reach out to us. Now, I just wanted to bring forth some ideas to you about activities, because a lot of students feel like there's a formula, or that everybody should be doing everything on the list for US admissions. That's not true. Not every university wants everyone looking identical. They're not looking to fill a classroom. They're looking to build a classroom, students. So please remember, whatever activity you may be doing, okay, it could be something that makes you look really good on your application. It could be something that you're really passionate about. It could be something that you have not actually won any certificate or structured award for, but it gives you a lot of meaning. So, for example, teaching my domestic helps child English for the last 1 year. No one's given me a certificate for it, but it is something that I'm putting my knowledge to good use. I'm showing commitment to a cause, and things like that. And I've been doing it for one whole year. So it's a big, big commitment, right? So things like that. Okay. But whatever you do, please remember that it is quality over quantity. Nobody needs a laundry list of everything that you've done. Okay. So make sure it's not about, oh, I've only got 5 and my friend has got 10. But if you've done those 5 really well and you've taken time to do those 5, then that's more than enough. Okay. Also remember, participation, achievement over participation. A lot of students will be like, ma'am, I participate in this, I participate in that. That's great. And if you've only been able to participate, that's also fine. But see if you can make something an achievement as well. If you're part of a club, can you take more responsibility in the club and actually lead an activity? Not everybody can be the captain or the head boy or the head girl, right? That's only 1 or 2 people who will get to do that. But what about the others? You can still show leadership through other ways. Okay. So think a little bit about how can you elevate what you're already doing? Can you take it up a notch? Okay. So quality over quantity, achievement over participation, and definitely depth and not superficiality. So don't just do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, because then we'll know that you're doing it for US admission. And in 1 week, if you're doing an internship for 1 week, please let me tell you this. 1 week sometimes people take 1 month to get settled into a new job. So in 1 week, what actually would you have learned? So those questions come to mind. That's why do something for a longer period of time, which actually shows us that you've got the depth of what you're trying to do. Okay. So on your screen, you can see some different examples. Of course, this is not a full list. And by no means is this a formula, students. You could be doing any of these. You could be doing something totally different from the list. Maybe you have 2 or 3 things that I have not put on my list. But these are the usual suspects. Okay. So I'm not going to go over all of them. I think most of them are self-explanatory. But please remember the 3 sort of mantras that I just told you about, in terms of quality and achievement and longevity. Okay. All right. Now, I'm just going to go into a little bit about Education US and how you can connect with us. And I want to take more time to do questions today. We have an intimate group today, not too many students. So if you have particular questions and you want to discuss in detail, I'm happy to do so. We can do it in the chat box or unmute ourselves, whatever way is preferred by the organizers. But I'm happy to answer your questions. Students, we have a brand new website for Indian students. which is called the Education USA India website. If you just go to educationusa.in, this website will have everything that you require if you're applying to the US. It has information, scholarship information. You can sign up with us. We send information on a weekly basis on all our events and sessions. Universities send us scholarship information on a weekly basis. Any new programs they're launching, any new competitions or internships they have, all of it gets sent to us, and we put this up on our website and our social media. So do check it out for sure. We also have a mobile app for students who are applying. This is very useful in case you're applying right now, because you'll get a lot of notifications in terms of events, sessions, scholarships. Okay. We have a YouTube channel, which is our 24/7 advisor. We have some amazing sessions on YouTube. Now, if you don't want to wait for a live session on, say, the CSS profile, and you still want to do the CSS profile right now, you can actually check it out on our YouTube channel, and you'll get all the information that you require. Okay. I mean, this is up and available even at midnight, right? Most of us are asleep by midnight, so we're not going to be able to take any calls or help you at that hour. But trust me, the YouTube channel will be there for you to kind of seek guidance from. Okay. Now here is our information. I'll also put this in the chat box. And of course, we'll share this with your school, so you can share it with students. But one thing to note, students, is that we are meeting you virtually and in person. So if you can come in person, we would love to welcome you. But in case you can't make it to our centers, you can always connect with us in virtually. Book an appointment, call us up, and we can meet with you. We have a toll-free line. Of course, we have our own WhatsApp numbers and landlines and mobile numbers as well. But you can call us up on any sort of number which is convenient for you. And one thing to note is that all our sessions are free of cost. We do not charge students for any membership, any advice, and there is nothing like, okay, if you get an offer from a university, then we will take the money later, nothing. We're a US government program. We do not charge students for any services, and we will not charge it to you at step 1. We will not charge you at step 5 either. Okay. We also do offer letters of recommendation workshops at schools. So in case, the faculty or the teachers want a session, we're happy to do so as well. These are our details for the Delhi Center. You can take a picture of this one, a screenshot if you want. Our numbers are there, our email address is there, and our physical address is also there for you to go. We are, of course, very active on Instagram and Facebook in particular, and Twitter and YouTube are also present, but do have check it out and get a lot of good information from there. So I think with that, I'm going to stop. I don't want to have a very long presentation. So I think we have enough time for Q&A. So in case you have any questions, students, please do let me know, and let's get the Q&A started. Thank you.
Students, if you have any query, please raise your hand, then we'll unmute you.
Okay, so I think we have a question.
So I think there is no question. Yeah, there is no question. So we can actually. Just a second. One attendee.
I think we have a question coming up in the Q&A.
Yeah. One is just a second. I am unmuting Vinay Kumar.
Sure.
Hi Vinay, you can raise your question. Please ask.
Okay, hi sir. Good evening. Myself Vinay Kumar, and from helpstudyabroad.com. Actually, we are a consultancy, and we want to do B2B with you. Is it possible?
Vinay, for that we can discuss at a later stage, because I don't think this is the right platform to discuss this thing right away.
Hi Jyoti, I have unmuted you. Please ask your question.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Hi. Ma'am, I wanted to ask, what about a minimum qualification? Well, I would say the minimum marks that the student should have in 11th or in 12th? Because while applying now, the 12th, of course, exams are not done yet. And is there a minimum score that one should have to apply for the US universities?
Right. That's a very good question, sir. So the thing is that what happens in the US, right? When you're looking at an undergraduate program, if you're going for a bachelor's, they're looking at grades 9 to 12. So they're looking at trends across those 4 years in your performance. Now, most students, what happens is they will tend to do really well in grade 10, and then, they'll pick it up again in grade 12. There's a dip in grade 9 and 11 sometimes because we know that schools do a little difficult marking and assessment and so on and so forth. Now, US universities are very well versed with the Indian sort of trends and grades and how usually the profile of students. But please remember that there is a percentage requirement that most universities will have, and that can vary from university to university. Now, some universities will say we need 85% and more. Some will say 70% and more. Some are even more selective and say 90% and more. Some will give you that requirement on their websites. And some will just say that we really require academic rigor and so on and so forth. So, but most universities will give you some requirement of a GPA or percentage on their website. But please remember, like I mentioned, US universities are looking at holistic admission review. So they are looking at your marks for sure. I mean, you're going for an academic program, so marks are going to be very, very important. But they're also looking at other aspects of your application. So your essay, your letter of recommendation will be equally important as your marks as well in understanding your candidature. So while you should stress on your marks and have good scores, but also make sure you showcase a holistic profile to US universities. And in terms of scores, many universities that require tests, they also tell universities, I mean, on their websites, they'll tell students that our average or the mean SAT score or the mean ACT score is so and so. So say my score is very close to that mean of their university, then I know that, okay, I may have a strong chance of competing here. Or if my score is lower than the mean, then I know that this university might be a dream university for me. Or if my score is higher than the mean, then that university might be a safe university for me. But even in this, you cannot look at just SAT score. So even looking at acceptance rate. So for example, if my SAT score is XYZ and the acceptance rate of the university is 6%, then and my score is lower than the mean, that means then that school is definitely selective and I might not be able to compete, or I might have to take a chance, and it might be a dream school for me. So GPA percentage, acceptance rate, SAT, ACT scores, these are all very important to assess your candidature. Okay, but looking at the minimum percentage requirement, check out the university's website. That will give you the answers.
Okay, so can I apply in multiple universities at the same time? I mean, how many universities I can apply?
Absolutely. Absolutely, so because US universities do not really have a cap. Most undergraduate students tend to apply to at least 10 to 12 universities. Okay, that is why it's very important to select universities carefully and as per your factors, as per your priorities. So you're not even wasting your counts, but please remember that every university has an application fee. So you'll also be paying some application fee for every university that you apply to. But thankfully, with the undergraduate universities, you can apply through common forms. You don't have to submit a separate form for every university. So for example, if I apply through the common application form has about 1,200 universities that use the common app, right? So I can actually just add all my schools. If all my schools accept common app, then I can just apply through the common app. I fill in the information once, and then when I submit it for all the schools, then it goes to all the universities. I don't actually apply multiple times. But some universities are not on the common app. They might have their own forms as well. But most students, in my experience, end up applying to at least 2 forms. So for example, I'm doing the common app. I have 8 universities on the common app. But I also want to apply to University of California. Their campuses are 9 campuses, but they have a separate form. So I'll apply to maybe the 3 University California campuses that I'm interested in through the University of California form. So that's how it's done, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Yes, I see Jyoti has raised her hand. And we also have a question by Ria in the Q&A. I can just take both. Should I go with Ria first?
You take Ria's question. Ria is saying how can you create a video essay?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Ria. So Ria, what happens with the video essay is it's part of your supplementaries, okay? It's not going to be your main essay. Most universities do not require a video essay. Most universities will ask you for a 650 word essay or a 450 word essay. That's usually the essays that are required. Those are not usually a video essay. But yes, some universities have in the past, maybe 6-7 years, have started asking for a video essay as well. Now, a video essay basically is actually a very similar thing to your essay, but you are putting it in a video format. So that gives you a little bit more creativity. Okay, it might the setting in perhaps in which you do the video, or the way you show it. Maybe you're allowed to do some graphics. Maybe you're allowed to make a video format, like a movie format. So there's a little bit more creativity at play. But what you have to remember, Ria, is that a lot of universities will give you instructions on how they want the video essay. Firstly, they'll tell you, is it landscape? Is it portrait? Can you shoot it from a phone? Can you shoot it from an actual camera? You know, and they'll tell you that have it on a white background. Some will say, do what you want. You know, you're free to do what you want. So it's very important to look at the instructions of the university that you're applying to for the video essay, right? And then what happens is, now depending on the video essays, for example, if they say that it can only be a minute long, some will say it can be 5 minutes long. Okay, I have seen a video essay for a PhD program, which was, I think, around 11 minutes long, but that's a very, very long video essay. Okay, but that was a PhD application, so it was much longer. But I have seen really short videos as well. So I'll tell you this. So one of my students, he wanted to showcase that he's very good at playing drums. So he actually just didn't make a video of him playing drums, but he totally made a story around why he started playing the guitar, the drums, and how did it happen, how did he engage, does it help him? And through that, then there were some snippets of him playing drums also in the video. So he made that as a video essay. So you must write your script in advance. Think a little bit about how you would actually write your essay. Like that only you should write your video essay. So there should be some thought into it. There should be a story. There should be something that you critically analyze as well. It can't just be telling us a story and then not telling us more about it. What did you learn from that story? How has that helped you? How have you grown as a person because of that? How has something transformed you? So whatever you're saying, whatever you want to tell the admissions officer, please remember that every activity is not there just to tell them that I do this activity. It is to tell them that, hey, I do this activity and because of this activity, I am so and so, or I'm good at this, or I'm really good at doing something like that, or I have these skill set. So make sure you make your script as per the instructions of the university, and then you shoot it accordingly. And how you would probably show someone an essay to review, you should also get your video essay reviewed. So show it to an education essay advisor, show it to your school counselor perhaps. Don't show it to 10 different friends because honestly, they're your friends. Secondly, 10 different opinions will really confuse you. And also they're the same age. They probably will not be able to give you very good feedback from an advisor perspective, but they'll be able to give you good feedback from a friend's perspective. That might be very valuable, which we won't have that sort of perspective. So make sure you show it to 2-3 people who you really sort of trust. And that's how you submit the video essay. If you want more advice on how to write it and all of that, we have some really good documents that we can share with you, Ria. My email address is I'll put it in the chat box as well. You can email it to us, your question, and we can send you some resources. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other questions, students?
So far, no questions. So thanks for the wonderful session. And I think students have enjoyed thoroughly this particular session and hope to get more questions through email. And please feel free to contact us any point of time.
Sure. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. All the best, students. Take care.